In this video, I'd like to take a look at creating some tooling or maybe a mold for a piece of part that we need to clamp in on either side. The normal deriving operation doesn't necessarily give us exactly what we want because of the cavity inside this T that we have here. It's open on either end, and then just doing the subtract in the normal derive operation kind of ends up not giving us exactly what we want. So what we have here is we have RT, and again it's got a cavity running through it. There's an opening. So what I've done is I've created just dummy blocks for either side, the left and the right, so I have different pieces there. I could do it as one since this part's symmetrical, but this left and right side, or top and bottom, if that terminology seems better, would make sense if we have an asymmetrical part or something like that. So just like we normally would, we'd have basically our two plate pieces and our part, put everything into an assembly. So this isn't the only way to do it, but this is just a different workflow that I find helpful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into basically editing one of the pieces in place. I'm going to turn off basically the two blocks so I can kind of get down to the T itself here. So I'm going to now use copy object to bring faces into this model from the T. It's very important that you make sure that you get all the faces, or this workflow is not going to work right for you, because if this surface isn't completely enclosed, you're going to end up having some issues. I've made that mistake many times myself. So now I've got everything, so I'm going to go ahead and say OK to that. So I do have a feature over here, it's just kind of turned off, so let me turn on the visibility of that. I'll turn off the visibility of the T right now. So we can see I basically have a surface here with some openings. So for this to work properly, I'll have to use the boundary patch command. I'll use the boundary patch command to fill the openings at the end. The one intricacy here is I'll have to make sure I do them as separate features. If I try to do them as one entity, it'll end up giving me some issues here. So I'll do these as separate features, and I have them turned off right now. So I'll turn those on. So this will work well, but the only difficulty here is I'll have to make sure that I combine this all into one entity to then use as a surface to sculpt from. So I'm going to now stitch everything together. So I'm going to pick my composite, my three boundary patches. I want to tell it to maintain it as a surface. If I stitch it all together and it sees the part is essentially being watertight, what's going to end up happening is it's going to make it a solid as well, which is not going to work out well for what I need. So here being maintain a surface is going to be somewhat important. So I'll apply this. So now if I turn on basically the part here, you'll see I kind of have this T kind of sitting inside the block. I can now use the sculpt command to tell it to subtract inside that surface, anything inside that surface from the block. So I'm going to tell it to pick this surface. I'm going to tell it to be a subtraction operation. Everything's looking like it's previewing the way I want, so I'll say OK. And now you can see I have a nice imprint of where that part sat inside that block. So if this is my tooling, or again like a mold, I would have the right imprint on this piece. I would just then have to repeat the same process for the right side and have my part done. Thank you for watching.